You know, when you were a kid and mum and dad told you to do something and you went and did the exact opposite? That's the rebel coming out of you. Well, I think the same thing applies to motoring. Everyone's telling us now, you must be greener, you must have low CO2, you must have fuel-efficient cars. Well, what if you don't want to do that? What if you want to be a motoring rebel? I think I've come across the perfect solution. Meet my motoring rebel. This is the Vauxhall vxr8 GTS. It even sounds a mouthful, and as you can see, it absolutely looks the dogs. This is a car that oozes attitude from every single angle. It's hardly surprising that this car's dripping attitude. It's a rather strange cross based on an original Australian Holden Monaro muscle car, and it's then been fine-tuned by the engineers at Vauxhall's VXR race team. That's a formidable combination. This car shouts power and aggression, and you know what? That's exactly what it delivers. And check that out for a rear spoiler. You could fly a Boeing with one of those on board. The reason why this makes such an incredible noise is the 6.2 litre V8 that's throbbing underneath that bonnet. It blasts out 431 brake horsepower. That's 0 to 62 in 5 seconds. Driving the VXR8 is not for the faint-hearted. You need a fair set of muscles just to handle the steering wheel. Look at the size of this. And then when it comes to the gear changes, this is not a super smooth light gearbox. This is heavy duty manual box. But when you get those gear changes right and you just click that gear back, it's a fantastically rewarding drive. When it comes to the comfort levels, it is actually remarkably comfortable. It's like sitting in a big leather armchair. But there again, the sound of that V8 for real enthusiasts is absolute music to the ears. It's why they'll buy this. And the VXR8 is a beast to handle. You know, you need to concentrate all the time with this car. It's very much two hands on the steering wheel. It reacts to any change in road surface. It's a bit like a bucking bronco. This car has got a kick to it. But when you're in full song, when the engine is roaring its head off, and you're cutting down some country lane at pace in this great big bruiser, it's an exhilarating experience. You really do realize it's all about driving again. There are no sophisticated fancy aids. This is you and the car against the road. There's an enormous amount of car in this. You get a lot of performance, the sheer power alone. And it looks really different. It looks dramatic on the road. People will stop and stare at you in this car just as much, if not more, than any supercar. But nearly 50 grand for a Vauxhall, that's a lot of money. But as Vauxhall are only looking for 250 buyers for this car, it's going to be a very exclusive car. And that, with all of its other assets, could just about make this one of the surprise niche stars of the year. I think there are enough people that want to be a rebel that will fork out 50 grand to buy this car.